Have you ever wondered, what if our sky looked like Saturn's? What if we had glowing rings above us every single day? Would the world feel more magical or more dangerous? Would it change the way we live, the way we dream? All right, imagine this. You wake up, stretch, yawn. You look out your window and you see them. Huge rings going all the way around Earth. Not a dream, not science fiction. Real, ours. Just like Saturn, but closer. So today we ask, what if Earth had rings? Would it look amazing? Yes. Would it change our world? Completely. Let's explore it with real science, simple words, and a sky full of wonder. To have rings, Earth needed a big crash. About 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was still young, hot and messy. Then, a planet the size of Mars crashed into Earth. This huge impact threw rocks and dust into space. Most of that formed the Moon. But if a few things were different, like the angle of the crash or Earth's gravity, the pieces might have stayed in orbit. They would have been stuck inside something called the Roche limit, about 18,000 kilometers above Earth. Inside that area, gravity stops pieces from coming together into a moon. So instead, they would stay floating around Earth, creating rings, wide, thin, always moving. So, how big would the rings be? Saturn's rings are huge, 280,000 kilometers across. That's almost as far as the Moon. Earth's rings would be smaller, maybe from 8,000 kilometers to 40,000 kilometers in radius. They would circle above the equator, like a giant disk. There would be gaps, stripes, and layers made of rock, ice, and dust. What they look like depends on what was left from the crash. Dark dust, red or brown. Bright ice, shiny and white. Metal pieces, heavy and sparkling. Together, they would shine, even in the daytime. Sunrise and sunset would be magical, with glowing colors in the sky, gold, red, blue, and as Earth moves through the year, the rings would tilt and shift, changing with the seasons. But rings are not just pretty. They would block sunlight. They'd make long shadows across Earth, mostly near the equator. These shadows would cool the land. Crops might not grow well in those dark areas. Animals would move differently. Weather would change in strange ways. We'd have new climate zones, ring shadow areas. People would plan cities and farms by looking at sunlight maps. Some cities might even need to move slowly over time, just to stay in the light. Now, let's talk about satellites. Most of our big satellites sit in orbit, 36,000 kilometers above Earth. That's right where the rings would be. Big problem. Ring pieces move very fast, 28,000 kilometers per hour. One small rock could destroy a satellite. That means no GPS, no satellite internet, no weather updates from space. We'd have to find other ways. Use different orbits away from the rings. Communicate with lasers from the ground, or build new machines to clean paths through the rings. Space launches would also need new routes, and planes, they'd fly below the rings, staying clear of falling debris. Rings also affect gravity. They pull on Earth, just a little, but it matters. This could change how tides move in the ocean, Make Earth spin slower over time. Push satellites off their path. Also, tiny pieces from the rings might fall into the atmosphere. We'd see more shooting stars and strange, bright skies. Even the northern and southern lights might change, glowing in new colors. But people would adapt, and we'd find meaning in the rings. Religions might see them as signs from the sky. Buildings would be designed to face the rings. Artists would paint them. Writers would write about them. Tourists would travel to see the best views. Social media would be full of photos. The rings wouldn't just be in the sky. They'd be part of who we are. But even rings fade. Over millions of years, they'd break down. Sunlight, gravity, and tiny space rocks would pull them apart. Some pieces would burn in the sky. Some would fall to Earth. Some would drift away into space. One day, they'd be gone, and the rings would be just a memory. So, no, Earth doesn't have rings. But if it did, it would be amazing. It would change everything, from weather and farming to flying and dreaming. We'd always look up, not just to see beauty, but to understand it, to survive in it. So next time someone asks, "What if Earth had rings?" Now you know. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves the stars. Until next time, stay curious and enjoy your clear, ringless sky while it lasts.